Hello there, and welcome to the Antlered Crown podcast, where we discuss brews, witchcraft, spirituality, and more.
We hope through conversation we can continue the trend of the collective awakening and educate the masses.
Today we'll be drinking tea, green tea, I believe, with ginseng.
Yeah,
Because we're tired.
Yes, we're old.
We're old and tired, and we take it where we can get it.
So get your teas ready because we're going to be learning more about the 6 most common Clair-senses, how to develop them, and what it's like coming into and evolving your spiritual power.
Yep. So come on in. So, welcome to the Antlered Crown podcast. I'm Elwyn, and I'm a 4th generation hedge witch.
And I'm Amanda the Moderator, and I keep us on track.
On track, like a train,
Yeah.
like a conductor.
Toot, toot. So, we're going to talk about the tea.
Are we? Yes. Let's talk about the tea.
It's by Open Nature, and I'm pretty sure this is the green tea energy boost with ginseng.
That's it, with ginseng.
Ginseng and ginger.
Yeah, ginseng's great, but I used to have ginseng tincture that I used to take years, like decades ago. Well, a decade ago. I'm not that old. And it worked wonderfully, and then it stopped working.
Too much of a good thing.
I don't know. It was Korean ginseng, which is a good ginseng, and it just stopped working for me. I felt great for the first week, and then after that, I kind of just leveled out.
Right.
And then when I stopped taking it, I felt worse. So yeah, maybe it wasn't ginseng. Maybe I was sold an opiate in disguise. Who knows?
Opiate. Why not?
Why not? Just
Drugs.
drink some poppy tea and cut to the chase. That's hot, isn't it? Oh yeah, I better drink it.
Yeah. This is the part where we drink stuff.
The ASMR, the asthma.
There you go. Ooh, hot.
Delicious.
It's nice.
It's actually quite nice.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It tastes a bit like dandelion.
Not any of the flavors in there are dandelion either.
I said it tastes a bit like dandelion. I didn't say it tasted. It was. Never mind. Never mind.
What are we talking about today?
The 6 most common Clair-senses. There are many, many more.
Yes, but that would take 8 podcasts.
It would.
So we're just gonna.
You'd get bored by that. To be honest, I'd get bored by the last one. It's all the senses, but psychically.
Okay, can you name all of them without looking at the outline?
Yes.
Go.
Clairvoyance.
Yeah.
Clairaudience.
Yeah.
Claircognizance.
Yeah. 3 more.
Clarissa explains it all.
Clarissa explains it all.
I honestly, I don't know. Clair-sentience.
Uh-huh.
Clairalience. Clairgustance.
Clairgustance.
I wasn't looking.
No, not at all. You could tell you weren't looking even a little bit.
Not at all.
So we're going to start with clairvoyance.
Yeah.
Clairvoyance is visions of past, present, and future through your third eye.
Mm-hmm.
Where's your third eye?
It's right there, sort of between the 2 eyes and up a bit of the forehead.
Mine is between my butt cheeks.
I know. Winked at me, it did.
Oh, babe. Come on now.
Well,
Nobody wants to hear about that.
You said that.
No.
You said it.
Nobody wants to know you've seen it.
Oh yes, there's.
I am
no,
turning
naturally,
pink.
I've never seen it. Our children just just arrived by FedEx.
Mm-hmm.
And look what you've done there.
Oh my God.
All right. Well, you can cut that bit out.
Great. So people with disability are best suited to professions like artists, builders, photographers, decorators, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Which makes sense because they have a good idea of how things should look based on that.
Yeah.
Clear sense.
Because you have the foresight to carry things through. It's all of these things are governed firstly by intuition. Mm-hmm. Your intuition is kind of like the base level of where most of the clair-senses start.
Right.
Okay? So building from that, your intuition, following intuition, can only give you the truth of something. Mm-hmm. But we doubt, you see. When you trust intuition, there is no more room for doubt. And so therefore everything you see is the truth. Everything you perceive with your third eye is to be the truth.
Right.
It requires trust.
Right.
No second guessing or hesitation.
Okay. So one thing I wanted to ask about with clairvoyance is a lot of psychic mediums that are on TV, they say they have clairvoyance. Actually, I find clairaudience to be a bit rare, but they use on these shows, they talk about having symbols. They use symbols, and they have like a chart kind of that they go through. I don't know if you guys have watched these kinds of shows that I've watched, but they'll be like, oh, like a handout extended means such and such a thing. Like, so is that a common occurrence for you when you've had clairvoyance experiences? Yeah. Is there? It's almost like a dictionary, like a vocab that they cycle through.
It's charades.
But then that's not what I mean. Like, if they show you, do they show you the repeating image of something, and that to them can help you explain what you're the message you're trying to do?
No, it's no bloody help whatsoever, I'll be honest with you. It can get very annoyed, and then you get annoyed, and they get annoyed, and you can see that they're getting frustrated. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's not my fault I'm not clairaudient, love.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's some deceased woman there, just waving a calendar, like a Chinese calendar above her, or a white feather, or some kind of symbol that they're trying to use. And I can only express, that's the thing, you can only express what it means to you.
Yeah.
And so therefore they're trying to tell you something. Now there are two schools of thought to this, because there are some who will show things. They will show things that what they mean to you, and then you will interpret them. Or there are the people who literally take it as they see it. They say what they are being shown, and then it's up to the individual on a personal level to understand what that means.
What do you come across more often with yourself?
I actually kind of do a bit of both, because there are certain things that I understand now what they come to mean usually. So
such as?
Oh, you put me on the spot now. Okay. Well, the obvious things. Like,
what's one you get for me?
Someone's holding a baby, for instance. Or there is a wedding dress, or there's flowers, or there is a bird, and what the bird may be, the colour of the flowers, what it can mean, butterflies, those sort of things. They come up a lot for things like that, because they're trying to say of a memory. When it's a butterfly, it's usually someone who's passed on. Someone usually in a sense of someone from and then you get the whole thing to do with mother. So if someone is trying to put across mother, they may show a queen chess piece.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or because that's the mother, it's the matriarch. So it could mean the mother or even grandmother. This is how that kind of works. And so you can presume that it's a mother. What I do is I sort of half presume, because it's better to let that person decide. You must be completely transparent.
Yeah.
You can't just turn up and say, I think this is your mother. Yes, it's definitely your mother. And you don't know these things. You don't know. You know that there is this spirit there that is trying to communicate,
unless
that has a link to this person.
Clairaudient, and they...
Yeah, if you're clairaudient, it's a lot easier.
I'm your mom.
It's a lot easier. You can feel these things as well. You can feel the love. You can feel... That's a different thing, though.
Yeah.
But So what I would say is there's a woman here. She's showing me the Queen chess piece. Now, this to me means a matriarch, either a mother, grandmother, even great-grandmother.
Right.
And then I will go on to describe what this person looks like. The way that they portray themselves can change. They can go younger, older, depending on what is going to get that person's memory, how that person remembers them. It's about the link here,
right?
In that sense, that getting that link, connecting those two together, getting the right message across for that spirit wants to that individual.
Is that careful? Is that a mistake that you think a lot of mediums might make? Is presuming during a reading?
Some do. To be honest, when it comes to mediums, it's a trial and error sort of thing because they're usually born with the gift.
Yeah.
And so, therefore, it's something that you just kind of get used to. It's very different when you have just random spirits, though. These aren't people who have passed on. These are people who are still here, and they're just like, oh, what are we doing?
Hello, love.
Yeah. What are we doing?
Come round for a cup of tea.
What do you mean? What we do? What are you doing here? And it's just like, they're just hanging around. It's almost sometimes they walk around like they're just.
Is that what the guy at the window's doing when we do our lives? He's just like, hello, what's this about?
That guy had been there twice now.
Yeah, he has.
Little scrawny face. Don't like him. But he don't come in the house. And if he can't come in the house, he's not going to get invited. Sure. So.
You ain't nice.
Nope.
So, clairaudience, that's something that you wouldn't say is your main gift.
I do not. I wouldn't say that I possess clairaudience.
Right.
Although I do hear things.
You've had
experiences. I do not
possess
it to the point where I can hear on a whim.
Would you consider, like, baby toys going off or, like, some kind of random sound like on the TV or something like that? Would that also be a clairaudience, or do you think that's just spirit trying to communicate?
That's spiritual or paranormal, if you like, intervention. Okay. That's you hearing an earthly sound made by a spirit.
So clairaudience is literally just...
You're still using your third eye.
Right.
Your third eye is the hub of where sense is, as well as hearing, taste, smell, and all those things. So, yeah, it is that there is no intermediate there.
Right.
It's just spirit and you and the connection.
Right. Got it. So people with this ability are usually best as musicians, singers, writers, or speakers. I'm assuming that's because they can...
Sound.
They can, hear the different variations of sound noises.
Sound
and music in there.
Sound is frequency and frequency. Some people with clairaudience can see colour from sound. With
clairaudience, that's really cool. But with clairaudience, is it also just the inner eye, like similar how we all have, the inner or Jiminy eye. Cricket, the inner eye, the inner voice, like our what's the word for it, babe?
Your conscience.
Your conscience, yeah.
Your conscience.
Yeah. Is it similar? Do you think clairaudience is that kind of hearing?
No.
Or like when a word pops into your head, or it's like an actual whisper,
it's an
physical whisper in your ear?
It can be an actual, like when I get it, it's an actual like voice. It is a disembodied voice, completely from somewhere else. Usually all around, so there are like 5 people with the same voice saying it at exactly the same time. You can't tell where it's coming from exactly.
Okay.
There are other things though. Sometimes you may get someone saying something in your mind, and it's not an intrusive thought. It's not a subconscious thought. It literally is picked up and placed in your mind. You immediately recognize it as, this is not my thought.
Yeah.
This is not my thought. You know it.
Right.
When you see it, when you experience that, you will experience. And this is clairaudience in a sense, but it is not the same as the hearing of the spirit. It is more they are putting across. That is what we'll come back to that now, because that's the next one.
That is the next one. So Clair-sentience.
Yes.
That's feeling emotions or physical pain from others, guilt feelings or chills. I think this one's probably the most common one, actually, more so than clairvoyance, because This one is like, this is just your gut feeling, like knowing something's wrong with someone. And
but that's true.
Because that's part of intuition, is it not?
No, it's not intuition. Well, intuition is the kind of foresight. So in that sense it is. And it's a mixture of intuition and empathy.
Right.
As an empath, you may feel what others feel. Now, people get confused by that. People go, oh, I'm a very strong empath. It's like, yes, you're a very strong empath to those that you have an emotional connection to, like a lot of people. But what about people who are complete strangers?
Right.
That's when the true test of an empath comes in.
That makes sense.
And this is what this Clair-sentience has to do with it.
Right.
I can't remember the bloody name of it. It's the one I get. I had it when I was a child as well.
The sickness? What?
No, the sickness. Yes, and I got down with it. I did. Yes. No, I can't remember what it's called, but by holding objects, touching objects, shaking someone's hand, for instance, you can feel that memory. Everything holds a form of memory thing. You look on your phone. That's it.
Okay.
Clair-kinesis? No, something like that. I'm really bad at that stuff, though. I know the ones I have, and that's it.
Let's see. Okay, so it's called Clair-tangency.
Clair-tangency.
That's the one.
That's the one. Yes, and I get that strongly.
Okay. So that you would say that goes hand in hand with Clair-sentience? Not
yes,
hand in hand.
You feel. It's about feeling. You feel, and this also means that, as I was saying before, when a spirit is trying to make you aware of their connection to someone or what they're trying to get over,
right.
Clair-sentience is the one where they may do this.
Can I describe something that happens to me?
Yes.
Okay. So sometimes when I hear something, like I'm listening to a reading, like a general reading, or something on YouTube, or I don't know, even TV or something, or even something during lives that you say, and it feels like something I needed to hear, I get like a tingling up in my scalp from the back of my head, and it's like I don't feel that any other time but when I hear something, right? And that's just been happening like the last year or so. Is that a Clair-sentience then?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this is something I really needed to hear. Like,
I would call that a marker.
Right.
It means it does exactly what it says on the tin, because you knew that was something you needed to hear. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean, it just means it resonates to you in some way, or to someone who you know. Now, other people get this as they get the feeling of someone kind of stroking their face, or someone touching their shoulder or their arm, something like that.
Like a pay attention tap.
Yeah, that's all that is. But I would actually put that more down to the higher self.
Okay.
The higher self knowing. And someone actually commented on my thing a little while ago about, isn't the higher self just the subconscious? No. No, it is not. The subconscious is everything that the higher self isn't. The subconscious is where we put all those pains, fears and insecurities, and they kind of create this strange judge who decides what if we're good enough and if other people are good enough.
Right.
The higher self is none of those things. I just wanted to make that clear in case anyone saw that and thought, I don't know why I didn't bother to answer. I think I was busy at the time, and I was just like, I didn't want to be rude in that sense. I didn't want to be like, what? But it's not. So let's just clear that up.
So the next one is Clairalience, which
Clairalience.
smelling odors. Smelling odors
things.
which appear to have no physical source. This can indicate a particular presence of an individual or spirit.
Many people do get this. Many people get this.
Right.
You may smell, not so much now. Like, I used to smoke a pipe, for instance. So for many years. And so if I was to die,
right,
and one day you smelt, I don't know, Dunhill's early morning mixture, the one that you hated, and you smelt that, a year later, all of a sudden, you'd know that was me.
Right.
However, now tobacco industry is that all cigarettes just smell like stale smoke. So, but nevertheless, you can smell it.
Okay.
Same with perfume, flowers. Flowers have different meanings, the smell of them. Even people have their own smells. We all have our own unique smells, and we can smell those. And these are, once again, kind of like markers to let us know. It's not something that you can build on in a way. For instance, you're not going to see a famous medium just using clairalience, just being like, oh, I've got someone here, it smells like someone's grandmother. Like, it's not going to work.
It's only going to work for you specifically.
You can describe what you're smelling to others, or you can recognize it yourself and jot it down or remember it. But it's not going to really work standing alone as a clairsense in that way.
Right. Well, then that would be the same thing for clairgustance.
Yes. Taste. It's the same, but with taste.
Yeah, but with taste. So tasting things that aren't actually there.
Yeah.
That makes sense because, I mean, is this is spirit trying to connect you to a specific memory to give you some kind of hint? Is it another trigger, like you said, or not trigger? What was the word you just used? Was it trigger?
A marker.
Marker.
Yeah. Giving you a marker. Sometimes it is a marker that's to you. So, for instance, if I was to smell cherries, okay, or if I was to taste cherries, it would take me back to a time where I would sit on my grandfather's deck chair in his garden after going to the market with my grandmother with a huge basket of cherries, on the chair in the garden, sitting there with my feet dangling over the edge and just eating cherries. That's what that would bring up to me. Okay. Now, for someone else, it may not be that they did exactly that, but the point of cherries, you first would mention that I taste or smell cherries, and then you would say what it means to you, but...
Right.
Yeah.
So the last one here is claircognizance, which I think is another probably more popular one because it's knowing something without knowing it before. Yeah. It's just having that information available in your head. So this can be premonitions, forewarnings, intuitive, knowing things with clarity. And also, if you are a practicing witch, claircognizance, or a practitioner of any kind in magic, following a spiritual path,
claircognizance can be your biggest source of information. Okay. Your higher self that has lived before knows much, along with a team of people who have been living in... What's the matter?
Nothing.
Oh, a team of people who have been living before this, who have so much knowledge of these things. If you wish to know about magic, your intuition, along with claircognizance, can tell you everything you need to know.
So is it like that one witch talk thing where you get like a copper vessel and you put moon water in it and you put some books on top of it and then you go to bed at night and then when you wake up, you'll know everything in the books?
You drink the water first.
Well, yeah, you pour it in your butthole and then you'll know everything.
Why have we come back to your butthole?
Because it's your third eye.
My third eye now. That explains a lot.
Oh no.
Oh, well,
this episode should be called Buttholes Are Your Third Eye or something.
No, don't. My third eye is in my butthole. My goodness.
It's the fourth eye.
What? I'm not going there.
I don't want to go there either. Let's turn around.
No, don't do that.
Don't drop the soap.
Oh my goodness. Right.
Oh, tea break. OMG. Nice. Okay.
Right.
So, what's next?
How can you recognize these senses, or which one you may have a predisposition for?
I have an idea how you could do this. You sit and you get in a meditative state, and then you see which one comes to you first when you're trying to identify them.
Well, no, because you're trying... Right. Yeah, but whichever one comes to you first will probably be the first one you try to identify.
Oh. Okay. Well, what do you think?
You either got it or you haven't. No, right,
well, what if you think you have experienced it before, and you want to identify that is one that you have?
Right.
You know what I mean, in a present sense.
There is no such thing as having to learn an ability when it comes to the Clair-senses. It is not as such learning that ability or even gaining that ability. What you need to do, and pardon my French here, is clear away all the shit that is stopping you from getting to that ability, to unlocking it.
Right.
So that's what you have to do. You have to clear the clutter, the stress, the human thoughts, and train yourself to rely solely on intuition.
So, shadow work.
Yeah. This is why the spiritual awakening point of it is so very important. Some people completely miss that. Like, I was already spiritually awake.
I have a question. So what I was thinking is once you have a spiritual awakening, can you get cluttered up again? Like
yes.
Once you've cleared all the bullshit out and you're like, oh, I'm attuned. Can you get back in the mode where you're like having trouble connecting to spirit? Because I don't want to call anybody out, but some of y'all seem real cluttered and you're acting real spiritual. And I'm like, I don't know about you.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. Okay, put it this way. You may be wearing a cup, but if I kicked you in the balls, it would still hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You're still a human. You're still in this world where you are bombarded by stress and challenges that are sent to test you, to help you evolve. They don't go away simply because you understand why they're there.
Right. That's simple, huh?
Yeah, of course. You're still a human.
Yeah.
You're made of flesh. You're still living this life of material things. You're being bombarded by stresses that, come at you and challenge you, because that's what life is about.
Right.
Partly.
Do you think that gets glazed over a lot?
Yes, of course. That's the thing is we accumulate sort of like a snowball going down a hill.
Right.
We pick up things. And as we pick them up over time, steadily, we keep rolling because we need to. We don't realise because it's still snow. We're still a snowball. We're just, 60 feet tall by that point. It's only then when we actually reach the bottom of that hill do we realise how much we've accumulated. We must then shed it.
Right.
Sometimes it's important to stop and shed. Keep healing. Healing never stops.
Well, the biggest part about being spiritual, and you've said this before on the podcast, is living your best human life. Like, being a human is part of being spiritual.
Oh, yeah.
The mundane stuff is what makes you a human, which is what makes you spiritually elevated.
It's also living bringing together the spiritual and the mundane. Living the mundane spiritually and vice versa.
Right.
You shouldn't switch it off all of a sudden and be like, right, now I'm going to do ordinary mundane stuff. No, you're still a spiritual being and you are still a human.
Right.
The two have to have balance.
Well, bless you.
Thank you.
Gesundheit.
Ooh.
Okay, so let's see what's next. We're going to talk about what we can do to help develop senses further.
All right.
Just any senses. So, obvious one.
Meditation.
Meditation. Yeah. Do you have any tips for...
Yeah, a lot of people don't like meditation.
No, it's really hard. I have a hard time meditating personally. And so I have to do physical meditation where I'm walking in silence or I'm doing yoga. Because when my body is moving, that's when my mind is quiet.
Yeah, because you're tricking your mind into thinking that you're doing something. But it's something that is so monotonous that the brain can actually switch off.
Right. You actually made a TikTok about that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, sure. So the TikTok, basically someone said about having ADHD and trying to reach sort of spiritual things and astral travel, I think it was about as well. And they find it difficult with ADHD, of course. But there are things that you can do, and in many ways having ADHD can help, because there are coping mechanisms to ADHD that you may already adopt that you can use in meditation, like knitting.
Right.
Just for an example. It's a very monotonous, repetitive thing that over time you will do it with your eyes shut. You can do it whenever. You know, people take their knitting wherever they go, and they just do it while they're having a chat with people.
Yeah.
This is enough to concentrate, to distract the mind. So that, you know, you can, the mind can, the Japanese, in sort of like, especially when it comes to like Zen, I believe it's called Nun Mushin No, I think it's called.
Okay.
I think that's right. Which basically means mind without mind.
Right.
You're concentrating on something so much that you're not concentrating, and you find Zen. And that's the point. Now, when you begin meditation, the one thing that frustrates people the most is that distraction.
Yeah.
Meditation is practice. It is not achievement. You're not looking to paint a masterpiece. You are looking to paint something. It's more a paint by numbers, put it that way.
Yeah.
So
it takes time.
Exactly. So if you feel that you are distracted and you recognize that your mind wanders, don't berate yourself for it. Simply say, like, think to yourself, my mind has wandered. Recorrect it. Bring that thought pattern back on track, and then carry on. That's the point of meditation. If you berate yourself for it every time, like, oh, I can't do it, then you're never going to get there. The idea is to practice, to train the mind to stay on track.
Right.
If you fail the first time, it's not because you can't meditate or you're too impatient. It's just because you haven't done it enough.
Yeah.
That's all.
I think there's also this notion that meditation, you're supposed to be completely silent. Everything in your brain should be still and silent. And it's not about that. It's about acknowledging things and then letting them go. It's about clearing away things. It's not so much about just sitting there and like, oh, I'm thinking about something. I can't do this. It's about, okay, I thought about something again. I obviously needed to think about it. Let's let it go.
Yeah. Those things that come up, they come up for a reason. And also the whole thing about sitting cross-legged. I was taught for certain kinds of meditation, you shouldn't sit cross-legged.
Why?
Basically, that the flow of energy through your body, it's better not to.
To lay down.
You can either lay down, don't cross your arms or your legs. That's how I was taught. But there are certain ones when you're working on the self, you're not actually trying to travel, or it's not for a purpose, a specific purpose. That's fine. But other ones, don't cross your legs because, yeah. There you go.
Don't cross your legs. So do something, we talked about that, do something repetitive or creative. The in-between is where your cognitive mind is quiet and allows your intuition to speak. Another good one is pay attention to your dreams. That's a good way to test your abilities, writing down your dreams.
Writing them down, especially. And even if that's in the middle of the night, because sometimes... Now...
I never remember my dreams in the morning.
That's because they weren't important.
Oh.
Only the dreams that mean something, that have a true message and not just your mind kind of regurgitating what's happened throughout the day or whatever. The ones that you remember are there for a reason. This usually is a good indicator that they are a message.
Oh, okay. The ones that you have. What about a repetitive dream? Or is that just an imagination thing?
That usually is linked to... We're going a bit into the realms of psychiatry now, because a repetitive dream is usually something that is linked to a past event. Whether it is good event, whether it is a bad event, it is linked to that. There is a change at that point. And the dream will go there again and again because the brain is trying to make sense of what happened there.
Right.
It may not even be the same place because your brain is trying to shield itself.
That makes sense. Another one was test your premonitions, which I see a lot of this on TikTok, the little like test your premonition, and they'll like hold 2 stones in hands and be like, which one has the stone in it?
That's intuition, isn't it?
Intuition, yeah. Premonition, intuition.
Yeah. Premonition is to see beforehand. It's a bit different, I know. It sounds weird. But yeah, premonition, write things down. If you have a strange feeling about something, something that may happen, or you have a feeling that something bad may happen or something good may happen, write it down, make a note of it. Because the times where I've kind of had a dream, or I've felt that someone would happen, something would happen, someone would die, or someone, something major, and then it comes along and I don't write it down, and everyone's like, yeah, sure you did. I was like, I did, honest.
I swear. Taking note of your conventional senses too. Being more aware of what you're smelling, being more aware of what you're feeling, noting your different emotions and senses is a good way to elevate that. Yeah,
it is. That's the one thing that we completely disconnect from because we are part of it always. Recognize every single little thing, especially during meditation. Every tiny hair that kind of flicks a bit. Every raised or bumped piece of skin from goosebumps or chill, every tiny thing, every tiny noise, you can start to hone in, absorb it almost all around you. It's almost as though it bounces off of you. This is a form, I suppose you can call it kind of like psychic echolocation in a way.
That's cool.
Yeah, it helps.
That was my dolphin echolocation.
Oh, I thought it was a wheelbarrow.
Yep, let me just pack up my wheelbarrow. Here we go.
Yep.
I'm going to put all of my intuitions.
Oh, I put a dolphin in a wheelbarrow.
Put the dolphin in it too. But
wrap it in a wet towel first. It'd have to be
a big wheelbarrow to fit a dolphin in it.
You can get bigger wheelbarrows. They're not that big, dolphins.
Well, yeah, they're pretty big, babe. They're bigger than us.
They're bigger than an us.
That was us. It was you and me together and us.
I've never seen an us in the wild.
No, I've only seen it from behind.
You know it.
Oh, no. Oh, my gosh.
Just to know, you brought it back to that.
I know I did. I say, what in the butt? That's enough. Grounding yourself. Ground yourself in nature. Go into nature. Get those magnificent hertz. Align your hertz.
My favorite thing, sit under a tree.
I know, you do tell everyone that. Nobody does it, I don't think.
No one ever does anything I tell them. So.
I don't.
Well, you certainly don't.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm proud of it.
Yeah. No, to kind of share, almost like sharing the aura. You're stepping into the aura, sitting under a tree. You are kind of tapping that energy of that tree, letting it replenish you. It's a way of kind of lazily clearing yourself as well as grounding. It's really useful.
It sounds kind of like photosynthesis. How that's not photosynthesis.
No, it's not.
When plants absorb your carbon monoxide from your breath, it sounds like a symbiotic relationship. Symbiotic, yeah. Think on the past, and if you've had experiences before something has happened, try to remember and write down the details. So in the past, if you knew that was going to happen before it did, try and remember all the instances where it's happened before.
You mean deja vu?
Yeah.
Right, just say deja vu then. You finished?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Hold on, let me get my wheelbarrow.
Bring the dolphin.
I'll put all my fucks in it too.
Have to be a big wheelbarrow.
Bigger than a dolphin wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
Oh, no. What else do we have here, babe?
This is a long bloody list,
Yeah,
honestly.
well.
Can we just play a game now?
Come on, then.
Reconnect with your emotions.
That's a good one.
Turn off your brain.
Yeah, your mind chatters.
Yeah, it certainly does. And can be... What? Untrustworthy.
Yeah.
Differentiate between feeling and thinking.
That's a good one.
Feeling...
You are notorious for this.
Thanks. Feeling can also betray, though.
Feeling it's less likely to betray than overthinking about something.
What if you feel fear?
Excuse you, ma'am. What if you feel fear?
What if you feel fear?
The physical manifestations of fear?
No, yeah, just what if you trust your feelings, but what you feel inside is fear? Then what do you do?
Then you say, you acknowledge what you're scared of and you let it go.
With fear?
Yes. Shush, Penny.
You have to have a balance, I think.
Yeah.
It's fine to turn off the brain, yeah. But at the same time, you have to trust in your emotions. You have to be able to trust that when you turn off your brain, you're not going to collapse. Because you are tied up in knots emotionally. This is once again another reason why to do lots of these things when it comes to a spiritual awakening means pain and healing and hurting, because otherwise you're not going to be, able to do any of these things.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Yeah.
What was the biggest thing you think, as far as your shadow work, that you had to release? Or gain, I guess, either or.
Trust.
Trust in yourself, or
trust in myself.
Trust overall.
Trust overall.
Yeah.
I was never really given much of a reason to trust anyone most of my life. So trusting people is something that I've learned, and I am still learning. That's the thing. There is no I'm cured, yippee. And if you're looking for that, I'm afraid you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
That's
work. It's going to come back.
That's the rub.
That is the rub. That's the rub. That's the rub. Rum. If you guys know Franklin and Bass, then you'll know those old movies. And okay, never mind. I'll stop now. Or Ranklin and Bass. There's the rub. No, okay. Just me. Yeah, I completely agree. I think for me it was having worth for myself, finding that worth and letting go of parts of me that felt unworthy, because when you feel unworthy, you hold on to negative aspects and images of yourself that they don't fit in with who you are. Yeah. But you're so scared because you don't have anything else to hold on to, that if you let that go, then what's that?
What are you?
Yeah,
then?
what are you then? What's that going to look like?
Oh, I want to change it, because I think maybe that was me as well.
Oh.
I think it's trusting, in the same sense, trusting myself. So it's trusting yourself to let go of your own judgment of yourself.
Right.
And what you deem yourself as. Because what we deem ourselves is only what others may deem us to be originally.
Right.
That is what we judge ourselves by what others have judged, because that's all we know, and it takes time to get past that. I think it takes time.
This kind of goes along with that. This one is reciting your write down your values and recite what you will no longer allow. Memorize them, and when you feel comfortable with these values, anything less will feel uncomfortable. Your intuition will note that boundary has been crossed. Yeah. Without you having to
do it in front of a mirror.
Yeah, without you having to recognize that, like, oh, let me check my list. Like, your intuition will already have memorized that.
I tell a lot of people that about doing it in front of a mirror, because it's true. Yeah. If you can lie. Like, if I was to say to you, okay, recite that you are worthy, recite that you love yourself, recite that you are beautiful. Many people may not even be able to say it.
Yeah, to themselves in a mirror.
But to say it to yourself in a mirror means you can lie to me, you can lie to others, but you can't lie to yourself. You can't look yourself in the eye and say it.
Yeah. Everyone has to go after this podcast and look in the mirror and tell them they love themselves.
Yeah.
Say, you are loved, you are worthy.
You are worthy. And you are important.
Mm-hmm. Now we're quoting other movies.
I know.
You is important.
You is important.
That was a good movie. I like when she put the poo in the pie.
Poo pie? We're going back to your poo pie again. Let's crack on.
There's some kind of that's like when you have like a anal focus. What is
Anal
that called?
focus?
Yeah, it's like a Freudian diagnosis when you have, I don't know. It's one of the stages. I remember learning about this in school, but now I can't remember it, the name. Okay. Release any resistances that you have. You have to stop rationalizing things away. That's a good one.
That's actually a biggie.
Yeah. Yep.
Because
it's easy to rationalize.
Yeah, you can do it so easily.
Let's rationalize something. Okay, I'm going to make up something about myself.
Make up something about yourself.
Okay, here we go.
Maybe we shouldn't do that.
No.
That's like deconstructing.
No, because it's pretend.
All right, we'll make up a pretend thing. Don't make it like very personal.
My teeth are very ugly and yellow.
Right, obviously they're not. So.
Ding ding.
Yeah.
I take care of them.
Mm-hmm. So to rationalise it, you could say, oh, well, I drink a lot of tea.
Yeah. Yeah, you could be like,
oh,
well, I don't have the money to go to the dentist and this and this and that. Or you could just be like, my teeth are great the way they are. This is the way God intended them to be.
Mm-hmm.
And if I want to take care of them, I can brush them more often.
Mm-hmm. Or you can just, love your teeth.
Love your teeth. They're stricken? They're crookedness. There's crookedness.
Honestly, I'm a British person living in America. You ain't got to worry about teeth. This country is obsessed with their teeth.
They are. What's the last one there, bub?
Breathe.
Lovely.
No, it's important.
It is important.
Breathing.
What is your favorite breath work? Sorry, go ahead. Breathing allows
oxygen to the brain. It helps us think quicker. It helps us be more responsive, especially when it comes to spiritual matters. It helps.
It does help. What is your favorite breath work that you've learned?
The vase breath.
Well,
I was going to say the dragon's breath, but I'm not going to tell people that because you can actually die or pass out, pass out and die from it. It's the dragon breath technique. But the vase breath is kind of like a part of the dragon breath, which is you breathe with your stomach and you inflate that through. Breathe through your nose. You inflate it. And then as you just feel like you can't fill up your stomach anymore, then you start to fill up the lungs. So it's almost like filling a vase. You fill it from the bottom to the top. And then you breathe out your mouth from the top to the bottom. So you breathe out through the lungs and then the belly.
Made me a little lightheaded. Oop, snap.
You get so much more oxygen that way. You are really stretching out the diaphragm. Yeah, okay, it doesn't look great, especially if you're a person of my physique. Just at the right time, at a glance, you may think I was pregnant. I don't care.
Well, you do not.
The point, but the point of it is that it helps ground you. It helps calm the mind. You get oxygen. You are also forcing your breath to slow. You are controlling where that breath is going.
Yeah.
And energy and air is an element that to any magician, any practitioner, anyone following a spiritual path should familiarize themselves with. And you may be like, oh, I love earth energies and I love what. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Air energy is one of the first. It is the easiest one to comprehend because we breathe it. We breathe it.
We need it, you guys.
We need it. It's around us always. It is part of us. So,
right.
And that's how we communicate as well. From the moment you are born, when you learn to speak to make noise, you also are then taught a form of coding, and that is language, to then give these words meaning. All of this is done simply by air being controlled, passing over vocal cords.
Right.
You have learnt to bend air to your will from such a young age. It's one of the ones that come naturally.
Yeah.
So don't take that for granted. It's a big deal, you know. Focus on that. Focus on the element of air when you do that breathing and what it means.
Right.
Because air is wonderful for carrying over other energies, like other elemental energies, when doing breath work. You can breathe in fire. You can breathe in earth or water. You can breathe those in and then blow them out to like expand, to influence your surroundings or even certain objects, things like that. Well, we'll go into that another time because that's not there. But it's a really cool, very simple thing that, yeah.
Cool.
Yes. Lovely.
So we talked about the 6 Clair-senses.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about ways that you can develop your spiritual powers there.
Yes.
Which honestly, correct me if I'm wrong, most of it sounded like shadow work to me.
It is. It's healing. Like from the moment you're born, you get fucked up. I'm sorry, but you do. Like all of us.
Yeah.
Like you are told what is right and you are told what is wrong. You are told that if you do this, you will not be accepted.
Yep.
And that is the most important thing, is to be accepted.
Right.
And so therefore you create this judge in your head. And it may be the voice of your parents, your friends, your brothers, your sisters.
Right.
But each person who says something, who belittles you for something, who tells you no for something, or tells you to be quiet because you're annoying them, every single person adds to that voice of this person in your head who ends up judging you and who ends up judging others.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
the only way to tell that person to shut up and go away is by doing the work and slowly picking apart and realizing and showing yourself and your subconscious that every single thing that makes up that person is not true.
And re-picking it apart.
Because none of it is true. Yeah, none of it is.
Don't get comfy.
Everything is false.
Very
in that
true.
sense. If
Very
you
true.
look at it like that.
So, you can find us on TikTok and Instagram as The Antlered Crown, or on YouTube as Elwyn the Witch.
That's right, yeah. I offer a variety of psychic readings, including bone readings, tarot, and clairvoyance, as well as spiritual consultations, which are done live and scheduled via Zoom. I also offer spell work. Yes.
That's new.
Via Instagram. Yeah, it is. And
Three
yeah,
it is.
Yeah. But you can DM me for what you might need. That sounds dirty when people say DM me.
DM me, baby.
Well, now when you do it like that, it doesn't. I mean, it does. DM me for what you might need and for pricing. And we have merch now, so check all that out in the descriptions as well.
You can also join our community on Patreon and support this podcast and get access to our Discord server. We have group meetings. We have one-on-ones with Elwyn and other goodies, depending on the tier level that you choose.
That's right. I'm going to take a sip of tea.
The best time to do that.
I know, right?
During the outro.
I thought I had more time.
No.
Speaking of which, here is our Antlered Chum patrons shout-outs.
Yeah.
You do it.
Which is Margot. Hi, Margot.
Hello.
Eee. We don't always do it for the cronies, but you're a really great patron, so we love you.
Yeah.
Mwah. So next time?
Next time we'll be discussing familiars. If your pet is a familiar, the different types of benefits of having a familiar and that it can give you. Also, I'd like to add, not all pets are familiars.
Not all
People
pets.
get that wrong.
Yep.
I
did say if your pet is a familiar.
Yeah, because
you did say that.
A familiar, a physical material familiar is one thing, okay? But even when you get them, they may not be a familiar.
Right. They might just be a pet.
They may just be a pet.
Okay. There
are steps to be taken.
Yeah.
And there are other familiars such as I have as well, where they work for me in a sense.
Assist in psychic
energy. They assist me in not such psychic energies. They're earth energies. They're earth creatures.
Perfect.
They're not. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, we'll talk about that next time.
Yeah.
And always remember,
Tip your witch, bitch.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.